This turnout is very impressive, and we're pretty used to seeing such turnouts typically at rocks concerts, and I believe we've got somebody here, some speakers who clearly qualify, if already are not better than those rock stars. So very happy to be here today. On behalf of the Ashank Desai Center for Leadership and Organizational Development, it's a pleasure for me to welcome you all. We have amidst us some of the finest and wisest people out here today, and we have very, very interesting topics to discuss. But truly overwhelming is the size of the crowd, and for the size of the audience and the crowd, I'm very, very happy to look at it as a celebratory moment. As it happens, today we also complete 2 years of the Ashank Desai Center for Leadership and Organizational Development. And I would begin by inviting the chairperson, Ashank Desai Center, Professor Vishal Gupta, if you could kindly join me. And may I also request Shri Ashank Desai himself, the donor of the Center for Leadership at IIMA Ahmedabad, and also the founder chairman of MASTEC. May I also request the director, IIMA Ahmedabad, Professor Bharat Bhaskar, to join us here. And I would request Professor Vishal Gupta to felicitate Professor Bharat Bhaskar and Mr. Ashank Desai. I also have pleasure in inviting Mr. Shrenik Shah, who, as we would get to know, is a very, very special speaker and comes with a very unique background. So very happy to welcome one of the two big speakers of the evening, Mr. Shrenik Shah. May I request Professor Bharat Bhaskar, if you could kindly felicitate Mr. Shrenik Shah. And finally, now for the big moment, it is a pleasure for me to call on the stage Pujya Swami Gnanvatsal ji. May I request Mr. Ashank Desai and before I forget, we know that along with the Swamiji, we've got Nitya Prakash Swamiji and a few others, including Nishchal ji and some volunteers here. So thank you very much for turning in. And I will now request if we could do the lamp lighting ceremony. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. So like I said, we have a big program in the evening, and without wasting much time, may I request Professor Vishal Gupta to kindly come and say a few words on the completion of 2 years of the Center of Leadership. Vishal.
Thank you, Piyush. Good evening, everybody. And we are truly, I can say, overwhelmed seeing the response and seeing the participation in an event. While we were planning or thinking of this event, we were thinking of what should be the size of the room, what should be the size of the place where we should do this event. Should it be a classroom? Should it be maybe a hall? Well, we said, let's do it in the auditorium, and we'll hope the auditorium will get full. This afternoon, somebody told me that, well, you should now think of doing it in LKP, which is the biggest open ground, and seeing the turnout, it is really fabulous. So, well, I am Vishal Gupta, and I have been heading this center for the last 2.5 years. This center was conceptualized late December 2020, and formally it kind of got its shape somewhere in the early part of 2021. And as we stand here today, as we are assembled here, I am very proud. It fills me with immense satisfaction, joy, and also pride to say that we have completed 2 years at the center, and we have kind of done some work which we are very proud of at the center. At the outset, I would kind of talk about very briefly 3 projects that we have done very quickly, just to give you a sense of what is the work happening at the center. November 2021 to April 2022, we did a project with the Sikkim government where we worked with the Western Sikkim district, which is one of the most backward districts in Sikkim. And we engaged with 2,500 school children, ranging from class 9 to class 12, and we kind of imparted skills on character building and entrepreneurship development. We have been working with the Marico Foundation, where we have created a content on leadership in Hindi, which is more than 8 hours of Hindi content, which is going to be relayed. We have just completed this project, and it is going to be now relayed to 1 lakh teachers of schools in 5 Hindi-speaking states of northern India. That's the kind of work we planned. And the third thing which gives me a lot of satisfaction is we have just completed a course which is called as Leadership Skills. It is going to be now available for all professionals, anybody who has some experience in corporates, who has some experience of organizations. This is a course that can be watched, viewed by anybody. There are 93 videos of more than 34 hours of content, again, which is free for all. Anybody can look at it, listen to it, and learn from what is it that we are doing. Apart from all of these activities, we have done over the last 2 years more than 30 events where we've invited participants from Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, anybody, open for all events. And we've seen quite a good turnout. The center has published 3 books, 17 research papers, and 5 case studies in a span of 2 years, as we kind of stand here today. To put all of this in perspective, this was done when the pandemic was raging, not just in India but around the world. We came into existence in 2021, and you would remember the devastating second wave of COVID, which brought immense destruction and misery in our lives. Having seen that pandemic, and the pandemic is still on, we are seeing the reports coming up, but having seen that pandemic, and still being able to tide over it and be where we are, I think it is a celebration of the limitlessness of the human spirit. It is a fact that if a man can decide or resolve to do anything, we can do and achieve what we want to do. We have two such individuals today, and we will be listening to their talks, who have proven through their lives that the human spirit knows no ends. If a man can decide something, well, there is nothing that can stop us. Without taking much time, I would end by quoting one of my favorite authors and one of my favorite books, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. He and his family was put in concentration camp, and well, he had to undergo immense misery in that concentration camp. But he survived. He survived the concentration camp, and he writes in the book, one of the things that I realized that was the differentiator between who survived and who died in that concentration camp was faith. Was faith. Faith in the power of our spirit. Faith in the power of our own selves. Faith in something that we stand for. Faith in love, faith in goodness of human beings, faith in the limitlessness of the human spirit. As we gather here today, I want to welcome all of you, Professor Bharat Bhaskar, Director, Mr. Ashank Desai, the donor. Thank you, and because of you, we are all here. And we have Dr. Alka Mittal in the audience, the ex-CMD of ONGC. Thank you, ma'am, for coming here and being with us today. And all of you who have taken time and also made the effort to be with us in physical presence. There are people who have joined us online as well. Thank you very much. And I am sure you will enjoy this conversation, celebrating the 2 years of our center and also celebrating the limitlessness of the human spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vishal, and I think Vishal's speech will be incomplete were somebody not to thank Vishal for the very, very able leadership provided. It's my duty to also put on record thanks to the Executive Council, to the members of the center, to the advisory board, as also the largest enthusiast community of leaders out there, young leaders like you and some of the others who are out there in India as also globally. But this Thanksgiving will be incomplete were we not to mention, as Vishal did, the donor, Mr. Ashank Desai. So requesting Mr. Ashank Desai to kindly come over and say a few words.
Good afternoon. I am quite overwhelmed being here because I was here 40 years ago as a student and last 15 years as a board member, but never had an opportunity to address such a large gathering on IIM. So thanks to all of you for making it happen. I am, of course, looking at, as Professor Vishal said, with a journey of fulfillment. We have a long journey, but a journey of 2 years where I can look back and say that, yes, we are on the right way. We have a long way to go like any other journey. The leadership journey is also never-ending journey. It is a lifelong journey. So I am happy with all the achievements that Professor talked about. But I'll go back to why Leadership Center that struck me that I should do in a small way here. Obviously, being an alum, obviously I have a love and commitment to the institute. But one thing which completely has been mystery to me, if I may say, is this leadership. I have lived long life to see leaders right besides me, some of whom look very promising yet did not come to their fulfillment. And at the same time, there were people whom I thought were not necessarily going to fulfill my expectations, rose much above. So this leadership is something which I have found something to be most difficult area of finding it out, predicting it, and fulfilling that journey. As Peter Drucker used to say, if you know Peter Drucker, who is well known, you can call him father of management, as some people respectfully call him. He used to say that one thing I found about leaders is they don't look alike at all. All of them are different. And we have leaders right now as we speak, as you know, leaders from an organization which is spiritually respected all over the world for last 200 years. We have a leader who is going to talk his journey. We have leaders, of course, in business. We all come from there, like I am. But there are leaders right in non-profits and academia and what have you. So they all look different. They all behave differently. But there is something in them which is common probably. There is something, some qualities which transcend all their behavior. Something that transcends all their history, career, background. So that is what fascination I had about leadership. So I said, let me try something, and which is a better place than IIM Ahmedabad to seed that thought and make it happen. It was so nice that we had our chairman of the center, Professor Vishal, who has himself done a lot of work in leadership, which I know as a board member and admired it. So that was a good combination. So I said, let me do something here in some form, so that we at IIMA obviously are about leadership in the country, right? We are always known as number one. We would like to continue that journey also for the Leadership Center. We would like to be known in the country and in the region as a center that will become an example of what it means to build, research, consult, and make happen leaders in the country and around the region. So that is one of our visions. And I thought IIM Ahmedabad would be the best place that we could make it work. But the thought was not only about just saying that we want to become leader, a center with a leadership example of what can be done, but it was also about this Indian way, as I call it. There is something in our country, 5,000, 3,000 year old, where there is a wisdom of leadership. I think we should be talking, researching, and be proudly talking about it to the whole world. There is a Japanese way, there is various other ways, right? But nobody talks of Indian way of management and leadership. So I think we would like to look at it, and your wise words today are one of the things that we are going to think about and get a wise wisdom. So the center is going to produce leaders ultimately, and all of you maybe should become leaders and are capable of becoming leaders. So I'm happy that all of you are here to celebrate our journey of making leaders happen in the country. Leaders who are courageous, leaders who are value-driven, leaders who are an example to the people, leaders who are going to make difference to the organization and country that they are in. I think only dream that I have, I'll be happy to see, as I said, that many of you become leaders and many of the people who are passing through the center become leaders. So with that wish, I now, of course, would like to congratulate lastly to the organization that Vishal has built. We have Piyush, who joined from a very interesting background and really passionate about leadership that I see. He has some ideas. Sometimes I feel it's difficult to contain him. So, but he has built his team also around it. I will not take all the names. So all of them, I wish a great journey ahead. We'll be all around, of course, but they have to do the work. So I thank, of course, I must mention here that our director, Errol, was involved in making it happen. It was under his consultation that I made it happen, and now I welcome our new director, Professor Bharat Bhaskar, and I'm sure his support is very much needed ultimately to make this center what we want to become. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ashank. I think every great career is a work of art, and we have someone amongst us who I think has been crafting it with excellence. So it's a pleasure for me to invite Professor Bharat Bhaskar, who most of us at IIMA Ahmedabad are also just about getting to know. So very happy to look forward to your views. Please.
Thank you. I'm really overwhelmed looking at the large crowd and the great work Vishal has put in. Pujya Swami ji, Shri Shrenik Shah ji, and also Shri Ashank Desai ji, because of his generosity, we are here celebrating this event and 2 years completion of Ashank Desai Center. When Vishal was talking about, and he has been leading this leadership center, and he was talking about leadership, he also continued to talk on term called limitlessness. When Ashank Desai ji was talking about, he also talked about leaders having various qualities, each leader being different, and then some commonality amongst them. Some leaders are inspirational, and some are inspirational beyond time. There's no time limit about them. We have had leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, we had leaders like Martin Luther King, and on. But you see, there's something common in these two leaders, or all these timeless, immortal lessons they offer in the leadership. Two of those things which I find in common, I will be with you only for 5 to 10 minutes, so I want to wrap up because we have a great speakers today and great people here to enlighten us. So I'd say one of the things I found common amongst all these greatest of the leaders has been the purpose. They all found some purpose in life. Many leaders always chase the goals, but these leaders pursue the purpose. When I say purpose and goals, they are two different things. Purpose is something which transcends the boundaries of the goals. Goals are something you achieve, and after that you have to set up another set of goals and so on. So you set up a series of goals in order to achieve the purpose. We say, if I want to highlight the difference between purpose and goal, when you see your heart, it pumps 72 times in every minute, and it continues to pump. It has no goal. It never feels tired. There's no limit to it, because the day heart gets tired, the life ends. It doesn't want any gratification from someone that I'm pumping continuously to keep a person alive. So it works for the purpose, not for the goal that now I have done so many billion times, my goal is completed. The second part I find great about these people or these leaders is their ability to communicate. They communicate maybe in the simple language, variety of ways, maybe without a language, but they're able to communicate at the level where the receiver and the sender of the message become one. What we have in Rigveda said, Samaniva Akuti, Samani Hridayaniva, Saman Pasvomana, 𝐒𝐩𝐢𝐫𝐢. Idea is, when you're communicating with someone, or when these leaders communicate, their heart, mind and soul are at the same level that of a receiver. And once that happens, the masses gets transmitted, the purpose gets transmitted from one person to masses. That is the essence of the timeless leadership. I think we all would like to aspire and work toward that purpose rather than only for the goals. With this, I will not take any more time. I thank Vishal for organizing such a great event. And we have great speakers amongst us and great enlighteners amongst us. So I'll stand out from between you and them. Thank you.
So we will move to the second part of the exercise, and maybe all of us can just take seats in the first row. And I would request Vishal now for you to take over. But in the meanwhile, I've been feeling for all of us who are here, may I request there is a row in between, if some of us could kindly, and on the other side, if you could just make yourselves comfortable. From the back side, if you could just enter and start sitting on in the middle, right? Vishal, may I request you to please.
Okay. So let us get to the business straight away, and I have the pleasure and honor of introducing somebody whom I got in touch in September last year, and I came to know the work that the organization was doing, the work that he and his team were doing. And yeah, let me wait for people to settle down. So I have the pleasure of introducing to all of you Dr. Pujya Gnanvatsal Swami, who is himself, who started off his journey as a student of engineering. He was raised in Vidyanagar, Gujarat, and graduated in mechanical engineering from Birla Vishwakarma Mahavidyalaya, Vidyanagar. He joined thereafter BAPS and took the other path. However, even in this form, he does not stop to inspire, motivate, talk about leadership, about leading oneself. He is a motivational speaker, a coach, and a person who works with leaders of all kinds and not just in India but around the world. He has lectured in organizations of, you can think of them, and he has been there. You can think of countries. He's spoken in the United States of America, Australia, Canada, Europe, England, New Zealand. So he's a master speaker, motivational speaker, and it is when I met him, I said, Swamiji, we would want you to come and address and talk about, address us at the Leadership Center. We would like to listen to you, your words of wisdom. And he very kindly, graciously agreed to our request. Thank you, Swamiji, and I invite you to.
गुणातीतो अक्षरं ब्रह्म भगवान् पुरुषोत्तमः जनो जानन्निदं सत्यम् उच्यते भवबन्धनात्. With prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagavan Swaminarayan, my Guru Hari, Param Pujya Pramukh Swami Maharaj, my Pragat Guru Hari, Param Pujya Mahant Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar, good evening, and Jai Swaminarayan. Especially to Shri Bharat Bhaskar, the director of the Indian Institute of Management here in Ahmedabad, Ashank ji, the donor of this place, Shrenik ji, my co-speaker, and last but not the least, the two wonderful people here at IIM that I know, Vishal ji and Piyush ji, and all who are present here today. As at the start of the function, Piyush ji mentioned that it's always been very great to be in the midst of a big youth energy. And that is what we see today. I think seeing this crowd at IIM, you must be convinced that we will be a $5 trillion economy by 2025. So when talking about the art of spiritual leadership, and talking about leadership, I don't want to talk about work procedures. No. I don't want to talk about management systems. No. I don't want to talk about tutorship. I don't want to talk about human relations. I don't want to talk about time management. I don't want to talk about connectivity. I don't want to talk about project planning. I don't want to talk about paperwork. I don't want to talk about systems of execution. And there is a long list of things that I don't want to talk about, which is already written in the books. And so I see a stunned silence that what will I be talking about? If I don't want to talk anything about the modern management systems, anything that is written in the books, above the books, beyond your courses, much above the academics, is the art of spiritual leadership. A person who is high on spiritual intelligence, how can he become a great leader? Just for one reason. He thinks that I'm created by God and everything around me is created by God. And man being the best creation of God upon this earth, whatever I do should be the best creation. What we are is God's gift to us. What we do and what we become by what we are is our return gift to God. Spiritual leaders, they think in this way. So naturally the systems, naturally the procedures of better and best administration and management get inculcated into their habits. Until the 90s, it was thought that people with high intelligence quotient, they can find jobs, do business and recruit people. After the 90s, there was a surprise change in the corporate world that people sometimes with better IQs were incorporated into their systems or were engaged or were given jobs by people who had high EQs, emotional quotients. And at the turn of the millennium, it was found that people with high spiritual quotient, they could rule over people with high IQ and high EQ. So spiritually intelligent persons, they have a top view of the whole concept. They have a top view and the inner understanding of the whole concept. So they are beyond IQ and beyond EQ. Now that subject is a bit different. What I want to say is, spiritually, those people who are high, they just think one thing, and that is, when I am the best creation of God, whatever I create upon this earth should be the best. What I need to do to make it the best, To what extent I should involve myself? And how can I engage more and better people to make the best? And when the ultimate aim is to do the best, naturally all the systems and management and installation, they fall into place. This in context of the Pramukh Swami Maharaj Shatabdi Mahotsav that we celebrated just about 2 months back in Ahmedabad. A festival beyond the scale of imagination of any person. Ahmedabadis, Gujaratis and people in India haven't seen this scale, did not see this scale before. Just a few minutes back, we were sitting at the reception and Professor Vishal Gupta told me when they are doing a case study on this particular festival, as Harvard has done on Kumbh Mela, IIM is doing on the Pramukh Swami Maharaj Shatabdi Utsav. That we found out after all the research that they said that the Shatabdi Mahotsav of Pramukh Swami Maharaj in Ahmedabad was the largest gathering of, third largest gathering of people in 1 month in the entire recorded history of humankind. Because 1.21 crore people visited in a span of 1 month, that is 4 lakh people a day. On 200 acres of festival cultural ground, we had paved 1 crore paver blocks, and that too on zero budget. We had 80,000 volunteers who had selflessly put in their efforts. Some for a few days, some for a couple of weeks, some more than that, but 40,000 volunteers full time for 35 days during the running of this festival. And they handle more than 45 departments. We had more than about 45, 55 plus apps designed to run the different departments of the festival. A couple of statistics that are really mind-boggling when it comes to administration and management. We had a daily turnover in the lodging and boarding facilities of 25,000 people. So we had 4,500 apartments, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK apartments, very generously gifted by the builders and developers of Ahmedabad to use for our lodging and boarding facilities. And our devotees from all over the place would come, they would reside in those apartments for 1.5 to 2 days, and then again the second batch comes in. So every evening we had a rotation of 25,000 people in the lodging and boarding facilities for 1 month. You could imagine this scale. 25,000 people who would check out every day and 25,000 people would check in every day. And that too in a temporary makeshift arrangement. We used to make 80 tons of khichdi every day. And the entire kitchen department was running on no electricity, no fire, absolutely thermal. For the first time in the history that such a huge congregation had all the items made in the kitchen department without the use of fire or electricity. Fire once, two, heat up the oil, and the oil runs in the pipelines at 250 degrees centigrade temperature, and that cooks all the items. So to take up the risk of thermal cooking in such a huge festival was for the first time in the history. Many such things, if I carry on with this, it could be a separate talk specially for this. But why I told you this? This whole festival was managed by a team of saints and a team of dedicated volunteers. They were under an umbrella of spiritual leadership of our Guru Hari Mahant Swami Maharaj, who at the age of 90, having bypassed them 25 years back, engaging in more than 3 to 4 hours of administrative meeting every day, attending 70 to 100 letters every day, attending 30 to 40 incoming outgoing phone calls every day, and still as energetic or perhaps more than you and me. So under his umbrella, we had this whole festival for 1 month. Who's who? People came from all over the country, all over the world. They were well taken care of. And people who came to the festival, they said, let it be permanent here in the city of Ahmedabad. Now with this background, how can a festival, a gathering of this scale can happen? And that too so smoothly is a mind-boggling thing, especially for the IIM professors. It's a routine for us. Professor Vishal ji and Professor Piyush ji were touring different departments. And in the volunteers department, they asked a wonderful question to the saints who were handling the volunteers department. That Swamiji, you have volunteers from all over the place, that means geographically different places. Some from Saurashtra, some from Gujarat, some from Rajasthan, some from Kolkata, some from England and in America. Second thing, you have volunteers with different academic backgrounds. You have volunteers of different mother tongues. You have volunteers who have come from different strata of the society. And if you make a team, and the team includes this variety, do you face problems of team coordination and teamwork? You ask this question to our volunteers department. But it was running so smooth that this question, when you posed, was the first time that we thought of that. Because we never encountered this. Why? Again, there was spiritual leadership. Now, what are the aspects of this spiritual leadership? The mother of values for spiritual leadership is integrity. With all the talents, all the academics, all the backgrounds, all the support systems, everything that you have, if you miss out on integrity, you are a zero. Am I right or wrong? With integrity and lesser on otherness, you can still make a gradual progress. When Pramukh Swami Maharaj visited United States of America in the year 2000 at the age of 80, there was arranged a meeting between the then President of United States, Bill Clinton, and Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Now, Bill Clinton, the President of America, he doesn't understand a word in Gujarati, and Pramukh Swami doesn't understand a word in English. Now, both the greats had the opportunity to meet each other. There was a saint who worked as an interpreter between the two. So English into Gujarati, Gujarati into English. So actually the 22-minute meeting was actually only 8 minutes because the two-way was going on. After 8 minutes of meeting with Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Bill Clinton, the President of America, was so impressed that he said that I haven't seen such expressive eyes full of integrity in my life. First of all, the President of America doesn't get impressed with anybody. And why should he? He's, in other words, the king of the world. America funds the top 50 institutions of the world, including the World Bank and the IMF. He nominates and the person becomes the chairman of the World Bank. And that to Bill Clinton, 6 feet 3 inch height, very charismatic. If you want to put him in line, he's among the top 5 presidents of US ever. John F. Kennedy, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, that caliber. And if at all he gets impressed, he would never express himself. Because the big American A comes in between. But he got expressed. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj, in his very traditional style, at parting out, caught hold of his hand and said, in traditional Gujarati, Sahib Amaru, Gandhinagar no akshartam jo avjo. And Bill Clinton, when he was told that he's personally inviting you to visit our Akshardham at Gandhinagar, he said, when he's inviting, I will come. And he came. Integrity has that impact, and it is the mother of all values when it comes to spiritual leadership. It can generate values, it can generate force, it can generate ideas, it can generate attachment, it can generate workmanship, it can generate administration, it can generate management, new theories, everything. It has the power to generate. So when you have integrity 100% filled up in your hearts and minds, There starts the path of spiritual leadership. And then you grow, your organization grows. A professor at the Wabash College in Massachusetts in America, Professor Raymond Williams, who has done a research thesis on BAPS many years back. I'm talking of things like more than 35 years back. He has written, after a deep study of BAPS, Swaminarayan Sanstha, that BAPS is the fastest growing organization in the world. That was 35 years back. And in 2004, when Pramukh Swami Maharaj visited London, Sri Chand Hinduja, Gopichand Hinduja, they met Pramukh Swami Maharaj and said, Swamiji, we are businessmen. And a long association with Pramukh Swami Maharaj since decades. He said that we are businessmen. And we could judge the growth of an organization if we take BAPS as a corporate. I could tell you with all confidence, both Sri Chand and Gopichand said, that I can tell you with all confidence, Swamiji, that BAPS is the fastest growing organization in the world, and I have not seen in my life, that is in my business life, in my corporate life, any organization growing at such a scale at this speed in the world. So from Professor Raymond Williams of Wabash College in Massachusetts to Sri Chand Hinduja and Gopichand Hinduja, everybody confessing that BAPS is the fastest growing organization, and BAPS, the speed at which it is growing is unimaginable. Spiritual leadership has integrity to the core. And when integrity plays, all the other values and virtues systems have to play. Now take this in writing, Piyushi. When integrity comes into play, everything has to come into play. Like when Sachin or Virat are playing, you have to glue to the TV sets. In the same way, when integrity plays, all the values and virtues, they start playing the game. And you create, you grow beyond the ken of human intelligence, beyond your imaginations. And that is what has happened. The first thing that comes out of integrity is excellence in work, which we all want. Just raise your hands if you say yes. We all want excellence in work, isn't it? It comes out of spiritual leadership. The core again is integrity. What Pramukh Swami Maharaj has done upon this earth is beyond the ken of human intelligence. In a span of 45 years, from the age of 51 to 95, and that is very much mind-boggling. In a span of 45 years, Pramukh Swami Maharaj created 1,300 institutions of social service. Hospitals, hostels, schools, colleges, community centers, sanskar kendras, mandirs and akshardhams. That is an institution every 15th day of his life. Imagine the purchase or getting of a land to deciding what to do upon it by the board of trustees of BAPS. Ashank ji. Hospital, hostel, school, college, what to come up with on that land. We being a non-profit organization, we raise funds from the society. We have to find Ashanks from the society. Then the land is legally cleared in the local government bodies. Thereafter, the architect designs the plans are passed in the local government bodies. Then the tenders dished out, a tender passed. Then the contractor finalized, groundbreaking ceremony performed. Contractor starts the construction work, 2-story, 5-story, 10-story. All the construction interiors done. Opening ceremony designed. 5-10 dedicated volunteers needed to run the institute. Finalized. Another 25, 50, 100 people as employees decided upon, recruited. And the inauguration ceremony held in the institute put in the service of society. This entire story that I described, right from the purchase or getting of the land to the institute put in the service of society, the entire story Pramukh Swami Maharaj completed every 15th day of his life for 45 years. And that too from the age of 51 to 95. He started his career at 51 from 1971 after he became the guru of this organization. This I said because I want to tell you when it is spiritual leadership, full of integrity, to what extent you can grow. Again, I would use the word beyond the ken of human intelligence. You would not find this statement in any growth, in any corporate, any organization, that in 45 years, 1,300 outlets in your language, 1,300 institutions in our language, 1,300 outlets in your language. In 45 years, that is every 15th day. So as I was talking, the first value that gets generated from integrity is excellence in work. Pramukh Swami Maharaj liked excellence in work. He created stone temples, we call it the Shikharbhat temples in America. The one that was created in Chicago, that holds a couple of world records, entirely made up of stone, finely carved. About 70 architects of the American Institute of Architecture, they decided to visit our Chicago temple. And they spent almost like 6 hours there. And spending 6 hours, they decided it right away that for this year, we must felicitate this particular monument as a standout of the state of Illinois. And they felicitated it. Just imagine the logistics, the preparation and the manning behind this. When we built the temple in 1995 in the UK, the granite, the stone, the marble used to come from Europe because Indian marble and stone and granite would not work there in the extreme climates. So they come there from Europe to Kandla, the free trade zone. It is by road transported to different sites in Rajasthan where they do the carving on the stones, and then it is again shipped back to Kandla, and then in containers they go to UK. 28,000 carved pieces in a span of 28 months. 28 means the stone or marble starts from Italy or Greece. To the time it is carved and it is sent back to London and put in that place. 28,000 carved pieces in a span of 28 months with this logistics done. In your language, with a Sigma 6 award. There is not even only one mistake allowed in 1 million interactions. That is a Sigma 6 award. And when it was inaugurated, Reader's Digest wrote that it is the 8th wonder of the world. It is among the iconic buildings of London and UK. So my first point in spiritual leadership under the umbrella of integrity is you always want excellence in your work. And you create excellence. Why? Now understand carefully. People in the corporate world also want to create excellence, and they do create excellence. But the difference in the corporate leadership and the spiritual leadership when it comes to excellence in work is, in corporate leadership, the excellence is not maintained 24/7, 365, 80. 24/7, 365 years and 80 years of your life. From procrastination to less on teamwork, less on resources, everything comes into play, and excellence degrees, they keep on deteriorating. When it comes to spiritual leadership, a person with a spiritual intelligence feels, again, the first thing that I said, when I am the best creation of God, 24/7, 365, 80, what is created by me should be best as my return gift to God. That basic thought of spirituality, gives him excellence in work 24/7, 365, 80. Excellence in work. When we had the relief and the rehabilitation work done in 2001 in Bhuj after the severe earthquake, initially we started all the relief work. Within like about 6 to 8 hours, on 26th January morning, 8:45 a.m. was the severe earthquake in 2001. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj, see, a person with a spiritual bent of life, how quick he can be, how intelligent he can be, how solution finder he can be. He called our local saints in Bhuj and said, let's start kitchen immediately. Because after 3 hours, people will need lunch. and the entire city is into debris. Where will people have their meals? So our saints just started the kitchen, and on the very first day, that is just 3 hours into the earthquake, we had 17,000 people having their meals at our Bhuj BAPS mandir. See, to gather the resources in this span of time and resources to this scale and put them into place and extract results from them is a challenging task. But only a spiritual leadership can do it. And that continued for another 10 months. Totaling 3 meals, we had a range of 65 to 85,000 people having their meals at our place. And then the rehabilitation started. You would be surprised to know that on the 4th day, that is 30th January 2001, Pramukh Swami Maharaj from Mumbai, he put an 800-ton vessel full of commodities that we need in day-to-day life at the port of Mundra. And I was a part of that team in 2001. We, in a span of just like about 10 days, distributed it in 509 villages of Kutch, Jamnagar and Rajkot. Now see where spiritual leadership works. Of course, the scale, the speed, the intelligence, the final result. At that time, one Mr. 𝐶𝐿, who was the chairman of the Asian Development Bank, he visited our place. During the rehabilitation work, we had adopted about 10 villages. We had constructed about 1,500 homes. Another 42 villages were helped with either one like a water tank, like a PHC, like a bank building. And Mr. 𝐶𝐿, they wanted to participate, the Asian Development Bank, the ADB, they wanted to participate with the government of India in Formula 1. 50-50% partnership. So they were asked by the government of Gujarat, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Shri Narendra Ji Modi. He said, you go to BAPS and see their work done. Government is a participant in that project. And Mr. 𝐶𝐿 was there. At that time, on behalf of BAPS, I had the service of guiding him through all our rehabilitation sites. I took him to a place, the name of the village was 𝐋𝐞𝐚𝐽, where we had constructed about 80 to 90 homes. Mr. 𝐶𝐿 entered the room and I was showing him around. He was not interested in the thing. He stayed up, went inside the kitchen and opened the tap. And water came out, so 25% satisfaction. Then he caught hold of the window and banged it 2-3 times. It did not lose out from the hinges. So again, he expressed a sense of some satisfaction and a small smile towards me. I responded. Then he went back to the entry gate, again banged it 2-3 times. It did not get loosened from the hinges. He was again satisfied. While coming out, he thrusted his shoes on the edge of the stairs, thinking that maybe the edge will break out, but it did not. He expressed 100% satisfaction, turned around and said, this work, that is the quality of this work, is equivalent to what we do in rehabilitation in Japan after the tsunami. This is a Japanese quality work. And then he told us that you can send a message to the Honorable Chief Minister Modi ji that ADB will join the project. So excellence in work, details in the work. See, when a person is spiritually high, he understands your emotions. In the corporate world, you understand only the thought process, designs and plans. Corporate world doesn't have the time to understand your emotions. And if you are not high on EQ, not high on SQ, it's difficult to retain people. The biggest challenge that the corporate world faces is to retain the people, isn't it? And here in the organization in BAPS, we have people who have been selflessly serving for 6 decades, 5 decades, 4 decades, 3 decades, 2 decades. Why? The only value that can hold retention in an organization is integrity under a spiritual umbrella. So when we were preparing the rehabilitation kits, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, at that time his age was 81. And he would take the day's reports at the time of like 10:30 or 11 at night. before he goes to sleep. And he was told that these are the items that we have included in the relief kit. He said, let us put a nail cutter also. Because since last 5, 7, 10 days, people have not cut their nails. Their nails might have grown. They would find it difficult to put their morsel inside their mouth. He said, Swamiji, these are all rural people and they are less used to such type of nail cutters. I'm talking of things like more than 20 years back. And many of them use their teeth as their natural nail cutters. So Swamiji said, no. Swamiji said, no, put a nail cutter. Then he said, put a comb. If they just comb their hairs, they would be feeling fresh because they had not taken their bath since 5, 7, 10 days because of this severe earthquake. Then Swamiji said that put a hair oil bottle as well so that they can put oil in their hair and feel fresh. The saints felt that if the phone call would continue more, this relief could double. But when the chief of the Israel disaster management team, which had come with 167 members in Bhuj, he was the chief of the Israel management disaster team, and they had done operations since last 15 years at more than 8 to 10 places. They had come with a mobile ICU. And that was for the first time I saw a mobile ICU put up at Shastri Maidan in Bhuj. We all went to specially see it. What is a mobile ICU? That was in 2001. He wanted to visit different places, different NGOs who would carry out different works. He came to our camp, he saw hot meals being served and said, how come? You people are serving hot, fresh meals during relief works? To how many people? We said plus of 3 meals is like 75,000 people a day. What? He was very surprised. He saw the kitchen, he saw the serving and everything, the queuing up of people. Then he said, any other thing that you do? He said, yes, we have prepared this relief kit. Can I see it? He said, yes. So I opened up the entire relief kit to Mr. Shalom, in which he found a nail cutter, a comb and a hair oil bottle. And his eyes got stuck. I still remember those eyes. His eyes got stuck on that. He said, why these things in the relief kit? They should not be. Relief kit is a couple of pairs of clothes for men and women, or a 7-day ration for a family of 4. That is all. We said that our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj insisted upon this, and so we have put them. And with this idea, he has asked us to put this in the relief kit. He was very surprised. And then the first question that he posed to his team members is that we have been brainstorming ourselves in for better relief operations since many years. We could not get such ideas so compassionate, so loving, so caring. And these people, they got it. We could not these people, only one person got it. Pramukh Swami Maharaj got it. So we have put it. He said, can I see his picture? So I showed him Pramukh Swami Maharaj's picture. The first question that he asked, seeing Pramukh Swami's picture, and the first question that any corporate or administrative or management head would in his mind is, and he posed that question to me, and the word to word and letter to letter is, from which college or university Pramukh Swami has done his MBA? Because people teaching MBA and people learning MBA, they feel that all the thoughts, they come from us. But the 100 thoughts that have changed the course of history upon this earth, 77 of them have come from class 3 and class 4 people who have never worn a tie or a blazer in their life. Like the T20 idea in cricket has come from an ordinary clerk of ICC. Ordinary clerk. Class 3 person. And that has brought the amount of money that is in football into cricket. So, he said he's just 5th standard pass. What are you talking? And then he concluded. He said, now listen carefully what is spiritual leadership. From the mouth of Mr. Shalom, the head of the disaster management team of the government and the army of Israel. He said that Pramukh Swami Maharaj got this idea, which is full of care, compassion. And we could not even think of it after long brainstorming sessions is because We work from the head, he works from the heart. This is spiritual. The art of spiritual leadership is working from the heart. The art of spiritual leadership is working from the heart. And so, they have published a book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard. The title of the book is What They Don't Teach You at Harvard, because they don't teach spiritual leadership. In which they say that basically a person needs development of 3H, the hand, head and the heart. When only the hand works, it is labor. When the hand and the head work together, it becomes skill. When the hand, head and the heart, all three work together, it becomes art. That art is spiritual leadership. So Mr. Shoram said that Pramukh Swami works from the heart. Mr. T. Chino, the Asia Development Bank chairman, he said he works from the heart. So a spiritually intelligent person puts heart first and mind second. And that is why he is able to solve problems, he is able to retain people, he can take people along. Bill Clinton told in the presence of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he said, his eyes says that he has taken people along with him. He has not pushed aside anybody and come in the front. He has seen the growth and success of everybody. And this is a fact that the art of success is when everybody in your team grows, everybody in the team is capable of replacing you anytime. That is your real growth and success. Each and every member of your team, if he can replace you as the head of the team any hour of the day, if you have done work in that way, taking people along with you, that makes you a leader. That is growth and that is success. That only comes through spiritual leadership. Otherwise, the biggest opposite of spiritual leadership is office politics. Leg pulling. So it is far, far, far down in the gutter line, and this is in the heavens. Excellence in work. Work with care, compassion and love that we saw in the relief kit in the rehabilitation work. Along with that, another good aspect of the art of spiritual leadership is value-based workmanship. To complete a task is one thing. To complete a task with excellence is another thing. But to complete the task with values is the third and the most and the topmost thing. A task completed brings cheers. A task completed with excellence creates records. And a task completed with values creates inspirations for generations. Value-based workmanship. We had the director of IIM Indore, Mr. Ravindran, to our place in Bochasan, one of the places of BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, from where the organization originated. Thereafter, he traveled to many of our institutions, even Akshardhams in Gandhinagar and Delhi. And he would always say, again quoting him well, he would say that in this world we find a big gap. On one side there is extreme poverty, and on the other side you have high levels of richness. Then he said, again we find a big gap, that we have a huge pool of unskilled labor, cheap labor. On the other side we have skilled people. And he said it is very difficult to bridge this gap between extreme poverty and huge richness, between unskilled labor and skilled labor. Then he said that I have traveled to many institutions of BAPS. I have heard the discourses of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. I have come close with the way in which the saints of BAPS think and act. I have been to their administrative offices in Ahmedabad and other places. I have been to Sarampur, the Saint Training Center, where the saints are being trained for 4, 5, 6 years. I can tell with all my backgrounds as a director of IIM Indore and all my management acumen, practicals and theories both, that the way in which BAPS carries out their projects, the administrative side, the management side, and more importantly, the human side, I could tell with confidence that BAPS is the organization whose principles give us the confidence that this is the way which can bridge this gap successfully. Value-based workmanship. When you go for value-based workmanship, nobody is yours and nobody's others. You know the biggest problem in the modern day management systems and the administrative setups and structures is contradict, control, and coterie. Coterie is that my group. Does he belong to my group? No. Then even if he is capable for the job, I don't want him. This is happening. Am I right or wrong? Students who are here, you are still in an incubation stage. वो छोटा बच्चा पैदा होता है, वो प्रीमैच्योर होता है, तो वो इंक्यूबेटर में रखते हैं. बाहर जाओगे पता चलेगा what is cutthroat competition, corporate world में what is leg pulling, what is office politics. He's not in my group, so I will not help him, even if he's talented, qualified, experienced. In the same way, after a lot of academics, when your ego inflates, you develop a habit and a nature and an attitude of contradicting. Even only if I contradict an opinion, even only if I put a logic against the logic, I will prove my intelligence and my workmanship. This is the wrong attitude that has come up in today's millennials. To agree is workmanship. Today's generations, most of them feel to contradict and come up with a new idea. To try to control the happenings at the office place, to try to maximize influence at the office place is workmanship, is quality, is trying to come up, is seizing projects, is gaining leadership. It's absolutely wrong. Why? Spiritual leaderships, they go for positive C's. The negative C's are contradict, control, and coterie. The positive C's are care, coordinate, and contribute. You have to change the mode. That changing the mode is art of spiritual leadership. The art of corporate leadership is contradict, control, and coterie. The art of spiritual leadership is care, coordinate, and contribute. बहुत फर्क है. A vast difference. People in the negative C's, they are always losers. If not today, after 10 years. If not after 10 years, after 25 years. They are sure losers. And people on the positive C's, they are sure and definite gainers and winners. History has records. So having positive these three C's is the art of spiritual leadership. Before you take a decision, you have to go for the care, coordinate, contribute, compassion mode. Before you take a decision, John D. Rockefeller was told that a person sitting in an important position in his company, Standard Oil, John D. Rockefeller was the first official dollar billionaire upon this earth. That because of his some wrong decision, the company has incurred a loss of $2 million. That was in the 70s, around that time. So anybody would blow up. Next day, Rockefeller called that employee in his chamber. And that employee was shivering. He knew that he would be fired. And before he would be fired, he would be shot to death. He was shivering. Rockefeller offered him a chair, which he never expected. Rockefeller pulled out a drawer and a glass of water for him and offered him water, which was never in the wildest of his dreams. Rockefeller pulled out another drawer. If anybody of us were sitting there, we would feel that he must be now pulling out a revolver from the third drawer. Rockefeller pulled out a piece of paper a piece of paper in which 5-7 items were written. And he started it reading aloud. He said, you have been with this company for last 20-25 years. This is what you have done for the company. I value your integrity. I value your workmanship, your honesty. So far the company has gained so much in terms of projects and in terms of money from your decisions and from your work. So your last decision, which brought a loss of $2 million, it doesn't stand in front of my eyes looking at this piece of paper. And then he goes further ahead, that I know that you are repenting your decision, you are regretting, and you are asking yourself that if I get a chance, I want to repay it. I know it is in your heart since seeing your integrity since 20 years. So today I have called you in my chamber to give you 2 promotions. To give you, I am superseding you, 2 promotions. So you will be better authorized to take decisions. You will have more power to take decisions. And here is your new appointment letter. Start the job. A very unique example in the history of corporate world. But it had the touch of spiritual leadership. Why? Care, compassion, coordinate and contribute. It happened. And that employee in a span of 5 to 7 years paid all that back with interest, bringing new projects, new work for the company. So it's the art of spirituality. I'm into last 5-7 minutes of my talk. Fine. So that art of spiritual leadership. See, normally when you see saffron-clad people, the first thing that goes into your mind, बेचारा, इसको कुछ जमा नहीं होगा, ठीक नहीं चला होगा, संसार में चला नहीं होगा, इसलिए यहाँ के बैठ गया. The first thing that enters in your mind is this. Pramukh Swami Maharaj proved it, that people under saffron also can be very good managers, excellent planners, and excellent executioners. And the person in Uttar Pradesh also proved it. So this basic quality of integrity, a couple of incidents I want to share with you. When a person is spiritually intelligent, what we learn from him in terms of administration, in terms of management, in terms of systems. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, when he met Pramukh Swami Maharaj, more than 15 years of association, more than 10 to 12 personal one-on-one conversations with him. He said our think tank of 500 people, we had come together and we have decided that in these 5 spheres, if we can work and excel, we can make India a superpower and a developed nation. And he presented that these are the 5 fields. First is education and health. Second is agriculture. Third is infrastructure. Fourth is communications. And 5th is critical technology. Swamiji, out of all your experience, he's asking Pramukh Swami Maharaj, after all your experience and travels and meeting people and running a huge organization, because you know it's difficult to run an NGO of the scale of BAPS than a corporate, than an MNC. Ashank, I will tell you why. To run an MNC established in 30, 40 or 50 countries is easier than to run an NGO of the scale of BAPS. Why? In your MNCs, you have a system of pay and smile. Pay and smile. How? Your pay is liked by your employee, so there is a smile on his face. His work you like, so there is a smile on your face. You are paying him money, he's paying you work. So it's called pay and smile relationship. In NGOs where we work, it is serve and smile relationship. You serve and have a smile on your face. We saints in BAPS, we don't have personal bank accounts, we don't have money, we don't touch money, we don't keep money. And we're in the same cloth since 30 years. But do you see a slightest lesser of smile on my face than yours? So when Dr. Kalam, out of all his backgrounds, when he asked Pramukh Swami Maharaj that, Swamiji, would you like to add any element to this? And Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, yes, the sixth element is faith. Faith in God will make you better people, will get you better people, will make people better as a professional, as a human being, as a family person, as a neighbor, as a colleague, as a friend. So when you excel in the 5 fields that you and your think tank have decided upon, the element of faith added to it will create the right kind of people to take care of your institutions. Because the best of technology in the worst of hands can create disasters. Best of knowledge in the worst of minds can create disasters and create hindrances in somebody's growth. A short seller from US can create hindrances, the first half word, in the growth process. So the best of technology in the worst of hands can create disasters. So we need good hands, we need good minds, we need good hearts, and those will be the creation centers of great and good work upon this planet. That comes by faith. Dr. Kalam liked it. He included that in his system. And when he wrote his 30th and the last book, Transcendence, My Spiritual Experiences with Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he writes this in this book. See, the element of faith is the principal strength of spiritual leadership. And that faith brings the mother of all values, integrity in your heart, and rest all values are just the children of those. So faith element works a lot. The last incident I would like to share. When Shishir Bajaj visited Swami and Akshardham at Delhi, the scion of the Bajaj family, he felt, of course, peace of mind, but along with that, he experienced vibes of brotherhood. He experienced feelings of togetherness, of harmony. And he was so much impressed with that visit, being geographically present there in person. And he comes to a conclusion, again I am repeating the name, Shishir Bajaj. He comes to a conclusion that a mandir, a religious place, the vibrations of which enhances the values in you, and you become a better person and thus a better professional. I very normally and casually say, don't carve out yourself to become a smart professional. First, be a good human being. A smart professional is a natural subset and a byproduct of it. Shishir Bajaj felt this. And he decided to set up a mandir in all the 16 establishments of Bajaj. 16 manufacturing plants of Bajaj. And he started doing it, and he hired one of our principal volunteers, Harshad Chavda. And by the year 2011, when Shishir Bajaj met Pramukh Swami Maharaj again in Delhi, he said, this Harshad Chavda has helped me to set up 6 temples in my institute, in my manufacturing plants. We are going for another 10 because what I felt here at Swami and Akshardham, being more human, being a better human, and thus a better workman, I want each and every employee of my organization to feel that. So now don't question the existence of mandir. If Shishir Bajaj is thinking on these lines from the corporate point of view, we are smaller in size, into bracket in many ways than Shishir Bajaj. I have 100 of such examples. My time is up. So thank you very much for patiently listening to me and all my prayers for you. And this is the art of spiritual leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think the applause and the continuous applause speaks to us about the power of the talk. And I would like to quote, I think there's a lot that you said, but I would like to quote one of my childhood heroes, Swami Vivekananda, who said, "Life is short, vanities of the world are transient. he alone lives who lives for others. Others are more dead than alive. So I think the work, the kind of things that the organization is doing, and I think as management professionals, one of the things I have realized is there are lots that we could learn from even as corporate organizations, for-profit organizations. There is a lot that can be learned from other organizations, not-for-profit organizations, and other kinds. And the importance of integrity, the importance of faith that you mentioned, apart from the three C's, is really powerful. So thank you very much once again, Swami, for. Now let me take you to a very different different plane from the discussion that we've had, and I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Shrenik Shah. Let me just introduce Mr. Shah to all of you. Mr. Shrenik Shah is a vocal cord cancer survivor and a cancer warrior for 25 years. He was diagnosed with vocal cord cancer, and his vocal cords had to be removed. And however, and as I have come to know, he was 40 years at that time, and he was into marketing. Uh, but it is the power of the self and the power of the spirit that the individual continued for next many years as in marketing profession, a profession which actually needs a lot of speaking and a lot of talk. But uh, after that, he continued, and he continued to inspire. He came to a platform, he took a turn in his journey, and as he tells me that the doctor who was operating, who had operated him for his vocal cords, he once called him and said, "I have a female sitting in front of me who has a similar condition like you, and she is saying, I will not like to live because if I don't have voice, then how will I live? Can you come and talk to her?" And that is when he goes and inspires the woman to actually undergo the surgery, and inspired her to live. And well, now he kind of speaks at different places, inspires people through his life and through his journey. So without further taking any more time, I would like to invite Mr. Shrenik Shah. Thank you for being with us.
𝐻𝐞𝐚𝐿 Namaskar, Ahmedabad, and hello Ahmedabad. હવે સંભળાય બરાબર? Yes. Thank you. વચોટે ઓનેસ્ટમાં વાજીબામાં જ્યારે ઓર્ડર કરીએ ને ત્યારે પેલો માણસ ટેસ્ટમાં વાજી ટેસ્ટ કરવા માટે લઈને આવે. મારા માટે ઓડિયન્સ ઇઝ વેરી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ, અને આઈ વોન્ટેડ કે મારો અવાજ પેલા વાજીબાની જેમ તમને ખબર પડે કે બધું બરાબર છે ને, તો પછી હું બોલવાનું ચાલુ રાખું. For me, it is incredibly of life isn't today for three different reasons. To be precise, I'm having a triple Sunday treat for three reasons. Number one, sharing this stage with Pujya Swamiji. Speaking at India's #1 business school. Thank you, Vishalji, for this opportunity. And number three, this week is a week of Chaitri Navaratri. Friends, out of too many talks I have delivered, I loved the title of today's talk, that is the power of self. I would like to share a coincidence, but before that, you are wonderful people. You have a voice, and you can make miracles, and you can make things happen. Let me ask one simple question. Abundantly, I look, there are married people, there are unmarried, and so on. Just for instance, you have a flower in your hand, you have poured down in front of a beautiful lady to propose in anticipation that she will also say, I love you too. And with a situation like me, you are unable to express. And trust me, within no time, she will tell you, don't. Jada jaldi karo, mujhe kahin aur jana hai. Friends, that is the life I'm living for past 25 years. And that is the life for me forever. Frankly speaking, I am officially into live-in relationship. Yes, I am officially into live-in relationship with this. And fortunately, my wife, she is sitting here. She has never objected. And she said, Tamare cha jawat jaw ene laine jaw mane laine jaw Yesterday, I read one important article on LinkedIn by Professor Vishal about multitasking but remain focused. Professor Vishal, I am into multitasking. The reason is I have to hold this device in one hand. उसको गले लगाना पड़ता है. अगर आप बोलना है तो गले लगाओ. I have to hold it on as you target. Then and then I can speak, otherwise I cannot. And that is the reality of the life. After Swamiji talked on this podium, one needs the energy, power, and whatnot, like Shivaji Maharaj, to speak on this podium. But yes, what brought me here? There are several C's. Number one, courage. Number two, confidence. Number three, dedication. And number four, commitment. Jungle policies तो दोस्ती करनी पड़ेगी. I would like to show you something. Say this is 10 rupees coin. On one side is head and other side is tail. It has just got a value, but I take this 10 rupees coin in a different perspective. On one side is dedication, and on the other side is a commitment. And you know what? This age, today I'm not going to talk about management or anything. I'm going to talk about which is never been talked in any premier institution in the world, and that is dating. Yes, DATING, dating. And you know why? There is a remarkable difference between love and the dating. Love is emotion and dating is absolutely power-packed action. So this age is a dating, and if you want to become a successful leader, like Swami said, whatever, everything commendable done by Brahma Swami Maharaj and rest of the team, it's not excellent, it's beyond remarkable. Beyond remarkable, I repeat the word, beyond remarkable, and that's how BAPS is known world over. So give the life in a vertical form, not horizontal. If you can keep your life in a vertical form, you will have an opportunity to spin yourself 360 degrees across 195 countries and to achieve that goal. थोड़ा मैं हिंदी में भी बताऊंगा. To achieve that goal, बम में 380, 300 का 2 engine लगाओ, and each rejection, each failure, each criticism, everything transform into energy, transform into opportunity. और जहाँ चले अपॉर्चुनिटी की बात करते हैं, गुजराती में एक बहुत सरस कहेवत કે લક્ષ્મી આવે ને ત્યારે ચાંદલો કરવાની જોય, એને જરા આપણે મોડિફાઈ કરી કાઢીએ. When opportunity comes, don't go for dreaming or bird, or don't go to beauty parlor. First accomplish your dreams, and then you can go for your dreaming or beauty parlor anywhere in the world. You don't need to be in Ahmedabad, you can go anywhere in the world, but accomplish the dream. Another point I would like to share here is when Vishal said, when Vishal rather shared the title of my talk, I was fascinated, and I would like to share 2 incidents. It is really not important what I have done or what I am willing to do. It's really ultimate. Important is how I did it. I'm having one friend here, Dr. Vikas Krishna from WHO, and he took me to meet IAS officer and Commissioner Dr. Janti Ravi, Madam in Gandhinagar. She met exactly right on dot, and she said, Shrenik bhai, I'm really getting late, but I want you to accompany me in the car, and we will talk for 10 minutes. I said, fine. And as soon as I opened the car, she said, Shrenik bhai, today is Monday. On Friday, I would like you to anchor live telecast for 2 hours about cancer awareness, prevention, and everything. And with my cancer specialist friend, we did live telecast, given presentation for 2 hours. And you know what? We could touch 25,000 health workers across Gujarat state at the grassroots level, and one single health worker is looking after 1,000 individuals. That means on that day we could share the knowledge indirectly with 2.5 million individuals in Gujarat state at grassroots level. One more example, a 24-week pregnant lady, she called me that, look, I am having some issue with my thyroid cancer and I need appointment in Tata Memorial, and since the hospital is always occupied and crowded with too many patients, it's really hard to get. I said, don't worry. I called one of the team member in Tata Memorial, explained who I am, explained the situation of the lady. And friends, trust me, in a CV is said, Shrenik, ask her to come day after tomorrow to room number so and so at 9:30. Now this is the power of sense. And see, I mean, if you are helping a living individual, that's fine. That is always appreciated. But when you are supporting a baby who is not come on this universe, that is the biggest blessings. And as Swamiji said, that is part of spiritual leadership. Coming to opportunity part, you all are in an age group right from say 30 to 50, 51 and so on. Let me tell you, and I believe you will remember this sentence. Life is like a Lamborghini. Life is like Lamborghini. Now it is your call, your choice, whether you want to keep in a garage with the cover, or maybe you want to keep it on the top of jack so that nobody can steal away your car, or you take it out for a ride, drive it on a road and other roads, and let people see what you are and what you are able to make out of your life. And that is the biggest advantage. Secondly, make people smile. You did not have to go to tax haven country for making someone smile, because there is no tax you are going to pay while you make someone smile. And Swamiji already said several C's, but I would like to add something important here. Start dating 7 C's. 7 C's: courage, confidence, commitment, connections, communications, compassion and commitment. अगर ये आप फॉलो करेंगे तो आपको वो बटन की तरह बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा कि मेरी शादी 20 साल से कब होगी, ये आपको किसी को बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा. And that is how you can make the best of the life. विशाल जी, मेरा टाइम हो तो जरा बता देना. What I could manage to do it for last 11 years globally for a simple reason. I am into taxi mode. Just a taxophone seatbelt duly fastened. And like ATC, air traffic control, when you get green signal, you have to take off. And that's what I'm doing. I keep my car at the airport as an individual. And instead of ATC, I would like to modify the word as OTC, opportunity traffic center. The moment you see opportunity, get ready to take off. And when you take off, your speed is something like 400 kilometers plus. And in that speed, nobody can touch you, nobody can think of stopping you. And that's how fair ye jo origin hai, that is all yours. You can make things possible which apparently look impossible, and that's what exactly you are able to manage it. On the other end, about what Swamiji said about corporate sector, I'm having quite sizable experience dealing with corporate sector and individuals. At times, the officials simply reject your file or whatever. I would like to mention, or rather I would like to tell everyone present here, that when you touch higher position and before you reject someone's file, someone's application or someone's offer, think twice. Imagine what you were before 5 years or before 10 years. As of now, I mean, you really have no reason, you really should not jeopardize anybody's dream. Don't do that. It is difficult situation and you are making things impossible. Who is willing to glad his dreams? So these are some of the stuffs, and I also would like to mention one thing, because family is important. is important to us. By any chance, if you are into having a bit of tobacco, smoking, etc., quit that, because for no reason you are penalizing those individuals by smoking or using tobacco. And one last point I would like to share here. If you are given a choice, what you would like to become, water or alcohol? Alcohol बिना परमिट अल्कोहल कंज्यूम करना पान है, लेकिन अल्कोहल बनने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. But remember one thing, alcohol is certainly expensive, but water is not. But then if you want to become alcohol, that means you have to bottle yourself for 12 years in the brown bottle. You can hardly see your future. So you need to take goal like what you want to be, and once you become water, you will have an opportunity to travel all the way from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. अगर आप डेजर्ट में जाएंगे तो आपको पानी की जरूरत पड़ेगी, अल्कोहल की जरूरत कभी नहीं पड़ेगी. So think twice what you want to become, water or alcohol. Thank you.
So thank you, Shrenik, and I think as we say, if they can, we can, and if he can, we can as well. And if there is, as I was saying, one of the things for all the young folks, young people here who always or who may think, not always, कि भगवान ने हमें क्या दिया या what have we got. I think one of the first thing that we should learn is to have immense gratitude for what we have been blessed with in our lives, and to just be. I remember, if you remember the 1999 World Cup, between finals, the semi-final between South Africa and Australia, where Lance Klusener was batting in the end, and they had to get that one run to win the match. If it was a draw, Australia would go into the final. Otherwise, if South Africa had to make the final, South Africa had to win, and the match was tied. And Lance Klusener hits that ball, decides to run, and the other person was run out. The match was drawn. South Africa was eliminated. Australia went into the finals and won the World Cup. After the whole thing, the interviewers went to Lance Klusener and said, "Oh, all of this happened. आपकी वजह से हार गए, आपकी वजह से जीत गए, and आपने ऐसा क्या सोचा? Why did you do this and all?" One of the things that he spoke was very profound, which has stayed with me, and he said, "Nobody died. Nobody died." So at times we have to give ourselves perspective that we are alive. That is the biggest blessing, and we have been blessed with immense power which is in us. The divinity lies within us. It is up to us how do we realize. So we come to the last part, which is audience. If I know it is a jam-packed room, there's hardly any space to move around, but if we have maybe 10 minutes to take some questions. You would see volunteers around you, okay? And volunteers, please raise your hands so that people can identify, and they will have a paper and a pen. If anybody wants to ask a question, I think the best thing would be, because taking the mic and moving it around, quickly you can write down your question on the piece of paper. Anyone wants to ask any question to Swamiji or Shrenikji? Yes. Please write whom the question is addressed. Okay, you can take the paper. Okay, raise your hand, the volunteers will find you. And because there is hardly any space to move now, so we'll kind of do it this way. Volunteers, as soon as you get the first question, you raise your hand and we will get the question from you. Abhishek. Yeah.
Please say if life should be with goals. If goals are not clear, what should be an ideal approach to clear goals in life?
I'm not getting you very clearly.
Okay, so the question is, Swamiji, if the goals are not clear, how do we...
Again, loudly a bit.
People say life should be with goals. If goals are not clear, what should be an ideal approach to clear goals in life?
Repeat again, Manan, repeat it again.
People say life should be with goals. If goals are not clear, what should be an ideal approach to clear goals in life?
Well, people do say, and that is right, that we should have some goals in life. Short-term goals, long-term goals, they are a necessity of life. But if your goals are not clear, what is the right kind of approach to clear your goals? The first approach is you have to introspect and in which fields you are interested basically in academics, in sports, wherever. What you are basically interested in. See, everybody wants to do what they love. Everybody wants to do what they love and do it. There is money everywhere. There is money in air, there is money in water, there is money in mud. There is money everywhere. So when you decide to do what you love as a profession, you will be able to do it with passion. So the one-line answer to this question is, when you want to decide upon your goals, first introspect into your heart and see what actually fascinates you. Where you can bring down and rain down your passion upon. And then decide that I want to do this. And when you decide to do this, you will work it out well. So by deciding the goals, introspect and see in which fields you are interested in. Thank you.
So the next question is, how can we make balance between personal life and spiritual life? Swami, to you.
Well, see, out of all my readings and travels and association with people, I have come up with a formula that of the 24 hours that you have in a day, you must distribute it well into 8+8+8 system. First 8 hours is honest, ethical, hard work in your profession. Second 8 hours is a good sleep or rest. And third 8 hours are very important. If you can live it well, you probably stand a chance to win your life. And if you can't live it well, you probably stand a chance to lose your life. Third 8 hours are important. We teach in the third 8 hours is 3F, 3H and 3S. 3F is family, friends, faith. 3H is health, hygiene, hobby. And 3S is soul, service and smile. So in 9 departments you should be spending your third 8 hours. So when you decide to spend your life, your day into 8+8+8 system, the maximum near that you can go to the system. It is a perfect balance between personal life and spiritual life. You have a personal life, you have a family life, you have a business life, you have a social life, and you have a spiritual life. In this 24 hours, if you decide, you can do everything. In one line, I would like to conclude this answer is, we have seen Pramukh Swami Maharaj from so close since decades. At morning 7:30 a.m. when he is doing his puja, you feel that he has come upon this earth to do nothing else than puja. At 9 a.m. when he starts meeting people, you feel that he is a master of communications and relationships. At 10:30 in the morning when he sits in the administrative meeting, because we are such a huge organization, you feel that he's a master administrator. So you can play the roles in your life accordingly and timely. So for personal life also you can find time, for spiritual life also you can find time. Joe Biden has 24 hours, Narendra Modi has 24 hours, our Guru Mahan Swami Maharaj has 24 hours, you and me have 24 hours. Never ever look at the heavens and complain to God, oh my God, you should have made 26 hours a day. You can always play well in personal life and spiritual life. If you decide, then you can well find time for both. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shrenik ji, life story or problem, how do you make a difference? Should we look at problems in our lives as problems, or should we create a wonderful story out of it? How did you do it?
Well, this question is always close to my heart. The reason is, problem is like a bouncer from Jaipur, Mumbai, and the best part is, like we get notification on smartphone, problems come without notification. The only thing you have with you is your head, your art, your experience, and your expertise. Now, when it comes, you got to face it. You got to face it. Let me add one more point here. How many batsmen have played cricket and how many batsmen have played six? But why Dhoni's helicopter shot is so popular? Because he is completely focused. He uses his head, he uses his experience and expertise, and he knows that if I'm not going to play this magnificently and meticulously, I am going to get out. And in this fast-paced world, who would like to get out? You don't get opportunity every now and then. So use opportunity. And one more thing, don't ever run away from the problems. Face problem, solve problem. और वो जो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने में जितना मजा आता है, द एक्म्प्लिशमेंट, ये कोई भी फिजिकल या नाम ऑनलाइन अवार्ड से सबसे ज़्यादा है, because that's how you can make things happen in your life. So you are not supposed to give up at any point of time. Thank you.
Swamiji, for you, another question. We have bad days when we see colleges around us, colleges having great confidence, and I will extend it. We have bad days when we
have what?
We have bad days.
Bad days.
When we see people around us having great confidence or expressing confidence in us, but we have negative thoughts. How do we stay stable and give our best when we have negative thoughts? And
for that you need inspirations and motivations on a daily basis. I think Ashank ji or somebody mentioned about Peter Drucker. You mentioned management guru and the person who coined the word management upon this planet. Peter Drucker was once asked in a seminar after his talk by somebody from the audience that do we need inspirations and motivations every day? Peter Drucker answered very simply that do you need soap and water every day? He said yes. Why? You use soap and water to clean yourself today morning. You need in the evening, you need tomorrow morning as well for a shower to clean your body, because even after using soap and water today, the whole day you roamed around, went out, had perspirations, this, that. So you need to clean yourself every day. You need to use soap and water every day. By this example, Peter Drucker said you need inspirations and motivations every day to get rid of negative thoughts and negative energy from you, because it creeps in. So it should be made a daily habit. It should be made a daily habit of forcefully putting positive thoughts and positivity into yourself. Only then you get rid of negativity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So inspiration, finding our daily dose of inspiration. I think that's Shrenik ji, how do you find inspiration in your life?
Making something new every day. I mean, trust me, I don't make no list, because I know for sure that there is nothing like tomorrow. And we as a cancer survivor or anyone with a disability, trust me, we are triple R, Ramcharan, Ramarao, and that director, producer. And every day when we wake up, we keep on dancing, natu natu, every day. And so, I mean, you need to have a purpose. You need to have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, what are you going to do? And here everyone is practically young. I would like to share one advice. Of course, you need to take call. Don't ever think about getting retired at 60. Don't do that. You will go wild. You will go crazy. And if you won't do that, and if you will continue work, trust me, डिप्रेशन को डिप्रेशन आ जाएगा, लेकिन आपको डिप्रेशन नहीं आएगा.
So last question, which is from I think one of the youngest audience that we have, Swamiji, a 9-year-old girl is asking, how do we develop integrity to the core, as you mentioned?
To develop integrity to the core, the first thing is you must give a thought to it every day.
You must
give a thought to it every day. Second thing is, whatever small activities you do during the day, you need to introspect and tell yourself, did I do it with full integrity?
Did I do it with full integrity?
Third thing, the next assignment or the next commitment that I have, what level of integrity I need to put into it. So in short, a constant thought of integrity, which is, as I said, the mother of all values, you need to have. Then only you will be able to develop integrity. If a shortfall on that, if you feel repentance, if you feel regret, and if you are ready to improve upon yourself, then you can definitely progress on the path of integrity. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I want to add a few more things.
Yes, please.
In continuation.
Life of integrity, how do we develop those values in our life? That mother of all values.
Yeah. So, I would like to ask you, stealing time for self. particularly from that blue button and green button. 12 minutes for meditation, 8 minutes for music, and 15 minutes for making your own breakfast. Make tea, coffee, what you like, but do that, and you will see commendable difference in your life. And that's what you can do it, and if you like, get connected with me, and I will share more details if you want. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, even if the systems are there, even if the administration and management systems are there, but still with lack of integrity and your attachment towards it, nothing of those best would work for you and work for the people and society. Exemplifying that, once there was a meeting of transport ministers of all the countries at a place. And the basic point of discussion was how to solve the traffic issues, especially in big and metro cities. So gradually it was the turn of the Italy's transport minister to speak what they had done in their country in Italy to solve these traffic issues. He said one wonderful thing at the start of his presentation. He said, see, we in Rome, which is our principal city, people take these traffic lights as instructions. So they follow it. In Naples, which is tier 2 city, people take those traffic lights as suggestions. Instructions you have to follow. Suggestions you may or may not follow. And in our mafia city, that is Sicily, people take these traffic lights as Christmas decorations. As Christmas decorations. Yeah, green, red, amber. So they don't follow. So we have systems in all these three cities.
All the three cities.
We have perfect systems in all these cities. But the attitude of people, which basically generates from their integrity towards the system, changes the traffic in those cities. So with systems and administration management in place, if you are not integrated with the system, if you don't have the value of integrity towards the system, no system will work, no people will be able to help you out, and nothing will fall in place. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I think really profound thoughts, and we have overshot the time, but I think one of the things that truly I think I can personally vouch for is if we can do our work as a service rather than taking it as a liability or a duty, a service to whomsoever we think is the power, is the important power we look up to. If we start doing, each one of us, if we start doing our work, not just because somebody has told us to do the work, somebody has given the work to us, but as a service, as an act of giving back, I think that quality, that idea of integrity would really help us in achieving those top standards, which I think your organization is living, demonstrating every day. And each one of us has that power to make it happen. Yes, Shrenik ji, last one.
Vishal, on this occasion and particularly in front of such august audience, I would like to compliment IIM with altogether a different name, that is IIE, Indian Institute of Empathy. You have clearly demonstrated empathy by inviting me. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And we come to the last part, and I would invite Ashank to please come on stage, and Piyush as well. Ashank, we'd like to felicitate you.
Okay, thank you very much, and I think I have a very important housekeeping thing to do, so I would call for your kind patience. But even before we get there, may I request Ashank to felicitate our speaker, Swami Gnanvatsal ji. And may I now request Vishal to felicitate Shrenik Shah ji. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Shrenik ji. So, very important last 2 minutes, your patience and your kind audience still required. So, first and foremost, Ashank Desai. I tell you, I have been so overwhelmed by the overwhelming crowd here, and this is absolutely miraculous. We've never seen something like this ever before here. Thank you very much. So first and foremost, I would have thought that I would have done it in the end, but like Swamiji said, the energy that the audience has bring in here, I think that is first and foremost, and we are also going to be doing it at the end. And very, very quickly, Ashank Desai ji, the donor, director for taking out time from IIMA Ahmedabad. I know very many departments have worked with us. So there is IT, we don't get to see them. There is AV, there is communications, there is publications, and very many others who, of course, we have the representatives here, but we do not get to see them here right now. There are, of course, the volunteers who worked selflessly over the last 24 to 48 hours. We've learned it from the BAPS organization as we're doing that case study and the book project with the BAPS. There is, of course, the ADCLOD team. I would just not wish to miss out on them. So there is Astha, Shubhangi, Manan, and Aditya, and the rest of the other team members who are there. And there is, of course, the BAPS organization, Swamiji's, and I know Swami Nitya Prakash Swamiji is also here with us, and a couple of other Swamiji's. But most importantly, our two star speakers, Shrenik Shah ji and Gnanvatsal Swamiji Maharaj. Thank you very much. And finally, once again, for the excellent audience that you guys have been, I would also like to mention that we have a little provision for refreshments outside. And if all of you could join us, it'll be our pleasure and privilege.
And also thank you, and I would like to thank two important people. One is Piyush, who has been heading the center and heading all the logistics, and that is being done. And once again, my profound gratitude and thanks to Dr. Alka Mittal, who has been with us. And once we told her, she is also a member of the community of practice for the center. And once we told her we are doing this event, she said, I would want to come and see the event. Alka ji, thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. Friends, the snacks and tea are waiting for you. Ab kuch. So Ahmedabadi Swamiji is recommending Ahmedabadi's meat chai, and we have chai, samosa, and many other things. So please join us, and thank you very much. Thank you.